So today we're going to be doing a fun little Monet's water lilies with the Japanese bridge over the water scene. You may have seen this in some other places by some other teachers, and I wanted to recreate that video for you using the tools and the supplies that we have in our classroom. So the first thing we want to do is we want to start with that bridge, and we're going to start with the shadow side. So I'm going to use my blue oil pastel, and if we count on the bridge, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of those posts that are showing. So we're going to space those at 1, 2, 3, 4 on that bridge, and then there's another rail that goes across here, and then there's a top rail that goes across here. Now there are some shadows a little darker in there, so I'm going to pick up a purple, and just on the underside I'm going to add in and sketch in a little bit of purple. And I think it's a little more shady over here because there's some trees we're going to add in soon. So we're just going to go like this. And then we can also do the light reflecting off the top with our yellow. So with that light reflection from the sunshine on this side, I'm going to add in the light coming this way, a little bit down here, just like that. Then we want to do some of our trees back here, and our first trees are kind of like willow trees or twisty willows, so I do some wavy lines that come down. They like to hang. I don't want to do too many in there, and I want to leave some space to go back and do some lighter colors because these have shadows and reflections just like our bridge did. So I use some yellows, some light greens in there, and then I can also still go back in with just a little bit of blue in those areas to add the shadows in to there. Now over here on the other side, we had some trees that were kind of further in the background, and they had more of a loopy leaf pattern over here. So I'm going to go in and make some little C shapes, C, kind of like that, to represent the leaves, and I can turn them the other way. I can make rainbows or frownies or smileys, but I want them to kind of all go that general direction. And then we're going to go through here and add in the green for the leaf part. We did the blue for the shadows. I'm going to go through and do the green for the leaves. And our leaves are little curly ones all through here. And we can go back in, and just in some of the spots we can add a little bit of that yellow to perk things up, just like that. Then we want to look at our grass. We have some grasses down here at the bottom, and a lot of our grasses are sticks, right? They're kind of zigzaggy, stick looking at the bottom. They grow on the shores. Sometimes they're cattails, sometimes they're just grasses. I'll do a little bit, just a little with that green in there to bring that back in. And I have a peach, so I think I'm going to add a little peach. There we go. And then of course out here we're going to have our water lilies. So out here our water lilies start with some bright green leaves. They float on top of the water. And the ones that are up close to us are going to be bigger. And as they get further away, they get a little smaller, just like our water does under our bridge as it goes back that direction. And then we're going to draw a water line for the other edge of the pond, so we know to stop there later. And then we're going to have some trees and other things that we paint in here with our watercolors. So we have our oil pastel part done. We're going to stop here and switch over to our watercolors to add that watercolor wash. So for this part, I'm going to be using a purple, a magenta, and a blue color for my water. I'm also going to use a pointed brush, and of course I have my water rinsing cup right over here. And since this is water, I want to start with blue. So I swish, swish, swish up, wipe it on the edge of the cup so it doesn't drip. And then I want to do a back and forth horizontal motion like this so that it looks like water. And I can go right on top of my weeds over here, and you'll notice that the oil pastels and the watercolors, they don't mix, do they? They are not friends with each other. Oil and water don't mix, so it's just going to bounce right off of those leaves or anything else we've done in the oil pastels. Now I want to switch color. I'm going to swish, swish, swish up, wipe it on the cup to dry it off a little bit and leave the water in the cup. And then I want to take some purple for my shadowy deep water, up and wipe it on the cup. And the deeper water and the shadows are going to be more in the background. I'm going to look for those places that I left blank, some of those little white lines that I left in there on purpose last time. And I'm going to paint over those. Oops, I dripped on my paper. That's okay. I'll show you why in a minute. So I have to hold it still, get all those little edges in too. And if you get a little bit on the table, that's okay. The watercolors that we use are washable. They'll come right off the table. And now you can see my water looks deep and shallow because I've used the two different colors on it. And if you want to go through and add just a little bit of the magenta color in some places on top of the blue, it gives it a nice little pop of pretty color. Up and wipe it on the cup, and then I'm just using the super tippy tip of that brush when I do this part. Right? Just to get some streaks in there. And now it also kind of looks like my water's moving. And you can see here where it's sort of puddling on top of my oil pastels. I'm going to get a dry paper towel and just pat, pat, pat those areas dry so that they don't keep that on top. I just fold my paper towel a little bit, and just right there, I don't want to do it out in the water and take the water off, just right on top of where my grass is. I tap, 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 pat, pat, pat. And then up here, remember I spilled accidentally earlier? I just go like that and pick that up as much as I can off the paper. And I don't worry about it because I'm going to put some more stuff up there in a little bit. Now, if you remember one of our other lessons, we used yellow and blue to make a green color. We're going to do that with this lesson. So I'm going to put a lot of yellow on this top part because that's where all of my trees are in the background. I want to be careful I stop at that water line though. I don't want to mix into my water. And this part I can be a little messy. I'm just swish, swish very gently all over the top part. Swish, 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 swish. Just like that. And then while it's still wet, rinse up, wipe it on the cup. I get some of my blue. I'm going to add my shadows in here to my trees like we added our shadows in that other one. And it'll start turning some of that green color, doesn't it? Just a little bit. If you get too much blue, it stays blue. But when you start really mixing it in, you get some of that green. And then back here, we're going to dab, 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 dab. And we can do it all different directions because we want this to look a little bit like leaves that are all faded in the background. They're a little out of focus and a little fuzzy in our background. So we just go like this and dab, dab, dab. Kind of all over like that. Okay. And if it got a little down here, I go side to side just to clean that up. And if I want some places to be a little darker, I can do a little more dabbing, right? Just like that, almost like there's a shadow of some trees back here. Maybe there's a deeper part of the trees up in the air where they grow close together, or down here at the bottom of the bridge. There could be some extra bushes and plants next to the water. Just like that. So I'm going to leave it just like this and then put it on the drying rack for next time. Today we're going to be adding our water lilies to our painting. You need a tiny bottle of glue for tiny drops of glue, a pencil, and some tissue paper squares. You get to pick your colors, and what you'll do is find a color you like for your flowers, and they do like to stick together, so you have to pull them apart kind of like this and crumple the edges like that. And then you're going to want to take one and you put your pencil in the middle and you pinch, 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 crush, crush, crush around that pencil, and then pull it off, and you can see it makes kind of a little flower. You're going to fold that tip up in the front like that, and then you're going to open your bottle of glue. Remember, open right here, closed, open. You can see that difference in here. Make sure there's no glue dried on the top of it, and then you just want to do one dot of glue just like that. You want to dot dot, not a lot, right? And then you can take your little paper flower that you made right on top. You want your lily pad to still show, and stick that down and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you'll do that as many times as you have these water lilies here. And you want to start with the ones furthest away first and then work your way down your paper so they overlap each other.